So it has been a month since I've left Russia. The story of my travel was that it was about 25th of September, and I was reading the news on Telegram and other non-TV sources. The fear of Russia just rapidly going downhill was intense. I have been feeling like this for a couple of days in a row. For me, the problem was that I didn't have any money. I was already in a debt to the bank in a couple of $1,000s, and I was repaying it, but I didn't have a job at the moment because I was doing a project of my own, hoping that it would allow me to easily find a new job, a new online job that wouldn't require me to be in one exact spot, and therefore I would have a chance to leave the country in the middle of October if things went right, or at the end of October latest. I was out of money. I had this idea of leaving already for over a month, but to tell you the truth, I was thinking about leaving for over 15 years, ever since I was in school in the latest years, which would be high school if you're in America. Haven't been to a couple of other countries and seeing how people live there and how they process things and how they think. I was already determined that I was not going to stay in Russia for much longer. I was thinking maybe about studying abroad, but my parents weren't making much money at the moment, and it wasn't really an option. Anyway, I was in the middle of my project, and the job wasn't really done, and the dread was consuming my mind that things are not going to get any better soon, or maybe for a long time. And also I heard the thing that was going around the internet at the moment, that about 28th of September that the borders will be closed off completely, and I won't have a chance of leaving. In my mind, I was set upon the idea that I was not going to die for this system that is currently present in Russia. It wasn't doing me much of a service at all. The moment that I got any cash on my bank account and things got way worse, and I had to repay my bills and my debts. Therefore, I was left with a zero on my bank account. I had already repaid some of my money that I owed to the bank, but I still had a lot to go. And at that moment, the dread just started collapsing my mind, and I was set upon leaving the country and not dying and killing people for this reason that was given for me. It just seems ridiculous to me. I took all the credit money out of the bank that I had, bought the tickets to fly from Moscow to Novosibirsk, and then I was going to take the bus from there to Kazakhstan, which might seem like a long way, and it is a long way, but unfortunately this way was one of the cheapest ways to leave the country. It cost me about $1,300 for the plane ticket and about 2,000 rubles for the ticket for the bus. The idea was to leave Russia as fast as possible. And in this way, the plan was perfect, because Novosibirsk, since it's very far away from Moscow and the government is located in Moscow, Novosibirsk is always making and taking its actions with respect of the government's initiatives as slowly as possible. And this was playing on my hand, since some of the border police points that were scattered across the border that were closest to Moscow have already been noted to disallow Russian citizens to leave the country. That's why I decided to take the long road. After paying about $1,300 for the ticket, which, if now thinking in retrospective, was a bit too much, since next plane, which will be leaving the next day, would have cost me about $150 in comparison. But I didn't know, and I wasn't going to take that chance. At least half of the plane was filled by the guys who are of conscriptable age. The flight was fairly quick. No food. I had to pay for my baggage because I was a bit over the limit. I had to wait a couple of hours in Novosibirsk. The moment I exit the airport, I see a couple of young guys getting just yelled at by a policewoman, intensely telling them to give her their passports, which raised my adrenaline quite a bit. I got into the taxi, went and wasted a couple of hours in the city. I was waiting almost 8 hours for the bus to come. Now it was about time for me to get to the bus station, which I did. There was a long traffic jam before it, and I was just stressing out all the time because I had to check my time, and I was just getting so close to the time that it leaves. And I get on the bus stop, and there's a woman that sells tickets on the bus stop, and there's no electricity in it. Luckily, I bought the ticket on the internet, so I already had it, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. I waited till the moment that it comes, and I'm starting to get doubt that it even will come, because this whole bus stop looks sketchy as hell. It's tiny, under a bridge, and I'm supposed to leave on this bus to another country, and this doesn't look like some place that an international bus will stop. Just sketchy. And I'm waiting for the bus, which is the last bus for today. All the other tickets were sold out for any other bus tomorrow, yesterday, and I was looking for it 3 or 4 days ahead. Anyway, I'm waiting for it, and it's not coming. It's 5 minutes past its time. Not coming. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, still not coming. 40 minutes, and I'm talking to the woman which sells the tickets, and she says, yeah, it didn't leave yet, it didn't come yet, so you didn't miss it. This is the moment where you start to believe in God, because I'm just stressing out here, but hoping for the best. And about 58 minutes past its time, the bus comes, and I get on it. They check my passport and stuff. I get on it with no problems, lucky for me. I get on the bus, and as I said previously, my seat was taken. Apparently all the seats are numbered, and you had to take your own because the ticket is for an exact seat. And I look around, and 90% of the bus is Russian men of conscriptable age, ranging from 18 up to 60 years old. And the bus is filled with this dread and almost a panic-like atmosphere. Anyway, then this moment happens that I told in the first video I posted, where the guys give me a spot, and the trip, which was just infinitely long, it was like a train in purgatory or something like that. But the people on the bus were very nice people, all of them, just nice, helping each other out, understanding. Once again, one of the best people I've seen. This kind of reminds me of that one situation when I was in Moscow on a demonstration on 26th of March 2000 17. And all the TVs, all the news, even social media were saying many bad things about demonstrations, and this one was one of the first ones in Russia and in Moscow, that was so big, a demonstration against corruption. I came out on the street, out of the subway. The streets were filled to the brim with thousands of people, and it was the first time I have felt such peace among such a large group of people. Many describe such open spaces and demonstrations as being something dangerous. These thousands of people, they were intellectuals, young people, students, scientists, educated people. And they were there not to cause havoc, not to wreck or break anything. They were there to express their feeling, to meet other people, other like-minded people. And they were so respectful. And I felt just shocked by all this, like a cultural shock in a positive way. And this situation on the bus was very similar. So I had this extremely long trip, over 14 hours long, no sleep, just driving and driving, doing a couple of stops and driving again. The culmination of the whole trip. The whole bus was waiting for it, and not in a good way. The feeling was that right now our future will be decided. We've heard stories about people getting conscripted right on the border, and the guy I was sitting next to, his brother was taken by the border police to be conscripted right on the border. Therefore, we had reason to believe that this was possible, and it was nerve-wracking. Fortunately for us, the buses have a different queue, so there wasn't a long car queue next to us, but maybe about 50 to 100 cars were there. But still, we passed quite quickly because we were the second bus in our queue. We get to the border police checkpoint. The bus stops, and then the border policeman comes up, a short guy that counts our heads, literally. He tells us to put all the baggage outside on a special pallet, like a piece of wood for transporting goods or something. We get into a queue, into a small, like tiny box-like border police point building. And the guy just starts yelling at us and telling us to keep moving forward, not to stand in a line and all that stuff. So he's just being highly disrespectful to us at this point, for no actual reason, not like anyone was breaking rules. Also, there was a guy who was sitting right in front of me with a cat that he was basically illegally transporting because he didn't have a passport or any other necessary stuff for the animals to have. At the moment, he was apparently trying to leave as most of us in the bus as quickly as possible. And that's a good thing that he has taken his cat with him and didn't leave it outside like I hear some people are doing at times when they go traveling somewhere or something like this, which is horrible. Like, why would and how do you think that this is normal and fair? Anyway, he takes the cat with him, and since we've put all our clothes and it's freezing temperature, almost freezing temperature outside, we put all the things, including the bag in which the cat is. And the cat starts trying to get out of the bag. And the bag, even though it's made for cats, looks cheap and looks like it's possible to get out of it. One of the guys who was in the bus said something about the cat, that he cares that it is going to be taken or it will run away or something, which the cat would be impossible to find. It's the night and we're on a border and there's forests around us, and we won't be able to just roam around the border police point to find the cat. That would be ridiculous. So it would be an actual problem if the cat escaped. And the border policeman yells at us something like, who said something about caring about the cat? And everyone is silent, and I said I did. He comes up to me, just looks me in the eyes as if he was thinking about maybe doing something at the moment, but then he looks at me and just smiles and does nothing. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. All of this is just weird. Then he continues telling us to push ourselves inside this tiny room for receiving people. And we try to get ourselves inside, and we are like sardines inside now. And then there is the actual passport check, and everyone is silent, so they will hear what questions are being asked and so on. And luckily to us, I don't see anyone getting rejected, at least yet. Then it was my cue. I come up and he is asking about the same questions, but one of them was, do you have the document that is something like war ticket or something like this, soldier ticket. The thing we have in Russia, that when you come of conscriptable age, you have information about your whereabouts and which point you are appointed to and all that stuff. If you go to the army, it will have information about what you did in the army and your rank. So he is asking whether I have it. I'm telling him that I don't. He's asking me why. I'm telling because I didn't get it, and he's saying like, why you didn't get it. I'm trying to come up with things to say because I actually did have it, but I didn't see a reason to bring it. It might even make things worse. Anyway, he is giving me a tough time, asking weird questions, then saying something like, okay, we've written down your surname and come outside and stay on the side with a couple of other guys and wait for us to come out. And I'm kind of feeling weird right now because he stamped my passport and has given it to me, and it says that I'm passed, that I'm free to go, but he's telling me to stay on the side for some reason. I come out and I'm stressing once again, but a bit happy at the same time. And the funniest thing is, none of them asked me where I was going, why am I going there, how long I was going to stay, what is the reason of stay, and all this classical stuff wasn't asked. Instead, I was asked weird, compromising questions about whether I have served or not, where have I studied, and all this stuff. I come outside, and there is the same guy that came up to me and looked me in the eyes previously. He's standing with like two of people from our bus, and I was supposed to stay with them for the moment. I come up to them. My hands are shaking almost. The other policeman comes out, and then he starts to ask me the questions. Where am I going? How long am I going to stay? What's the name of the city I'm going to stay in? And all the other stuff. I'm giving him just some answers, and at the same time relaxing a bit with each question, because the guy is smoking and it seems like has nothing to do with the official process. He's just making conversation. Then one more policeman comes out and he starts asking other questions like, why are you leaving, guys? Who's gonna protect Mother Russia if you leave? And all that stuff. Apparently, we were taken outside to the side because we had something beeping with the metal detector inside our baggage. And it was beeping, and I show it, and he says, oh, it's okay. So I close down, and I'm feeling good. The next entrance to Kazakhstan was easy. Nobody was asking any question. Everyone understands what was going on, and no questions asked. No hard times to anyone. Would I have done something different? Yeah, maybe if I knew, I would have saved some money on the plane trip, but everything else? No, I would have done exactly the same thing if needed. Today and tomorrow, I'm feeling a lot better since I've left. There are a lot of people that are willing to help, which amazed me. In Kazakhstan, there is so much people that are donating to the families in need, companies that are helping, on the contrast of what the Russian media is saying. The people in Kazakhstan don't feel threatened by Russian people coming here. I haven't seen or heard about any serious confrontation or distrust or anything like this. And I hear a lot of people that have left already saying about the same things that I'm saying right now. Maybe things may change, but we'll see, we'll see. Thank you for watching. This was my small recap of what I think, what I remember, and how I feel about the trip, and a short story of what happened before it. Hope you found it interesting and maybe helpful to some of you. Best of luck to those who are trying to leave and to those who are just interested, and stay free. It's funny for me to remember how I thought, and how you seem to think that you can arrange for yourself a happy and honest little world in which you can live calmly, without mistakes, without remorse, without confusion, and do everything slowly, carefully, only good things. Funny, you can't. To live honestly, you have to tear, get confused, fight, make mistakes, start and quit again, start again and quit again, and always fight and lose. And peace is spiritual meanness. From this, the bad side of our soul desires peace, not foreseeing that achieving it is associated with the loss of everything that is beautiful in us.